Hallo meine lieben Freunde, es ist dein Lieblings-YouTuber James Bray. Ich reagiere heute auf 7 great films for learning German that you may not have known or may not have heard of. Okay, that makes sense. Now, context. This was a suggestion in the Discord, which I would recommend you joining. In the description down below, your boy is active. I like talking to people at random. I might actually hop in Discord shortly after this video and just say hi to my beautiful community, man, because y'all be lit, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, basically, a lot of people have been asking me how I learn German. There's several ways I learn, but one of the ways I love to learn is watching TV shows. I like to watch TV shows in my free time, so I'm very familiar with auditory cues, this, that, the other, and I did it in waves, right? I did it and I would watch a TV show German dubbed with English subtitles, and then eventually it would be German dubbed with German subtitles, and then it was just German dubbed with no subtitles, and it was just me trying to identify what was going on. So that's helped out quite a bit, and this gentleman right here, Tom Copeland, has 7 great film suggestions that may or may not help out with, well, allegedly they'll help out with learning German. So I want to see what these are. I'll check these out myself, and I'll probably do a part 2 to this video and go like, oh, these are actually really good suggestions. So if you guys are new to the channel, willkommen, and if you're a returning viewer, willkommen zurück. Let's go ahead and check this thing out and see exactly what we're getting ourselves into today. Let's go.
I spent a whole lot of time sitting in bed watching German TV shows to make my top 8 German TV shows video for you. Now, as soon as I uploaded that, I got people asking me about doing the same sort of thing for films. So I was right back to the coalface, like the dedicated YouTuber I am. Yes. I know it's a tough life being a YouTuber, but somebody has to do it, right? Yep. Without any further ado, here are some great films that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, I'm going to start with one of my absolute all-time favorite German films here, which is Oh Boy, and the English title of it is A Coffee in Berlin. Now this stars everybody's favorite in every German film at the moment person, Tom Schilling. And it follows a day in his life as he basically tries to get a coffee and, well, tries to achieve a lot of things. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and it's a...
That dude kind of reminds me of the guy from X-Men, I forgot his name, man. Maybe that is Tom Schilling. No, Tom Schilling's a completely different person. But the guy from X-Men First Class, the guy that plays Xavier, he kind of reminds me of him. I had to do a double take really quick. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, what we got going on here?
Really funny film. But the way that it's structured is kind of like lots of little individual stories. It definitely feels like a series of short films almost. And this format means that they can explore Berlin in a really interesting way by showing little vignettes from every different angle. So there's the hyper cool let's all move to Berlin club scene, but then right at the end, in the absolute highlight of the film for me, he goes into a pub and asks for his final cup of coffee, and their coffee machine is broken. And he starts speaking to this old man sitting next to him who was present in Berlin during Kristallnacht. So you've got so many different angles on the city. And
actually, I'll go and check that out, man. This actually sounds pretty interesting. And I wonder where. I wonder if he gives locations of where you can watch these films. I wonder if it's like on a Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. This actually seems pretty interesting.
I think it's a really, really great film. Okay, so speaking of National Socialism, I guess, let's do number 2 on my list, which is Er ist wieder da, or Look Who's Back is the English title. Now, this is a very strange film. The premise of which...
I've heard of this. Er ist wieder da. So it's basically a story of what Hitler would be like. My friend was telling me about this. It's basically if Hitler would have come back in real life and live in modern times, kind of. This is exactly like I was told about this movie, but I'm not sure where you can watch this. Like I said, I'm gonna see if this is on Amazon Prime, and then I'm gonna watch it myself. But Es ist wieder da. That's crazy. And I know a lot of people might think like, oh my god, like what the heck? Why would somebody recommend that to you? But like, I think it's actually an interesting spin because it kind of like low key. I think my friend was telling me it points out like things that they're not relatable. They're not. There's like, you know, obviously we have like left wing politics and right wing politics and stuff like that. So I think it like kind of leans more, obviously more towards like the right wing political side of things or whatever. But that's what I was told. And it's an interesting movie, man. It's an interesting movie from what I've been told. And for anybody that's watched this, let me know in the comments down below, because this has been recommended to me before, and that's interesting. They made Hitler swole as hell, bro. Was he? I don't think he was buff. I mean, from what I saw, he was a chubby guy, but Jesus.
Is that Hitler has come back to life. And people who meet him think that he is just an incredibly committed performance artist who just never breaks character. But in reality, he is Hitler back from the dead in modern day Germany, trying to establish himself again. Now, if that concept has immediately turned you off, then please bear with me for a moment, because I think it's a really interesting film. It's part scripted, but it's also partly just taking this character and putting them in the real world with sort of hidden cameras kind of thing. In the same way that the film Borat used this outrageous character.
Yes, yo, oh my God, Borat. I remember watching that in like 2008. I want to say it was 2008. I was like a little ass kid, bro. I was like 13, 14, man. I remember watching that though. It was
shine a light on modern America. This film uses Hitler, outrageous character, to shine a light on right-wing ideas and how they can be stoked back up into the public consciousness with just a little push. Okay, let's go a little bit further back in time now and look at M, sometimes called M, eine Stadt sucht ein Mörder. So M follows a group.
M, is it N or M? I'm stuck suit the Mutter. What?
Of Berlin residents as they try and track down a serial killer of children who has been plaguing the city for some months as the film begins. The film is equal parts scary, exciting, intriguing, mysterious, but it's also quite funny. There's a lot of black comedy going on in here, as well as interesting social commentary, the idea of honor amongst the idea of honor amongst thieves, and also ideas about mental health. You have really interesting narrative devices, really interesting placement of the camera and things like that, stuff that you just wouldn't see in a modern film, which makes it quite an interesting academic watch as well as just an entertaining story. One disadvantage though is that the German is a little bit old-fashioned and sometimes slightly hard to follow.
So it's like old Hochdeutsch, right? Old Hochdeutsch. Hochdeutsch, right? Like High German, I guess. But this is.
I definitely had to rely quite a bit on the German subtitles that I had rather than just listening to it. So maybe want to wait a couple of films before you move into M. But let's stay in black and white for a moment and talk about Himmel über Berlin, or Wings of Desire. Yeah, Wings of Desire, which is the English title. So the premise of this is that there are invisible angel-like characters who watch over and guard human beings.
That's like this TV show that was called Touched by an Angel a long time ago on ABC. I'm not sure if y'all know about that, but it has a very similar plot.
Help them in times of distress. But one of these angels, through the course of his work in the city, falls in love with a mortal woman, and over time decides that he wants to become mortal too. So reasonably early on in the film, he decides to cast aside his angelicness and become mortal and start to explore the city. It's
I know if he started doing some sinful things, you know what I'm saying? Like, buddy was out here, you know, drilling cheeks and stuff, like, that's straight up. I mean, I don't think that's not a sin, is it? I mean, I'm not a religious person, so I don't know. But like intercourse, you kind of have to have intercourse to, like, you know, conceive, you know, produce children, you know, and reproduce or whatever. But yeah, like, I think it's not really the act of having intercourse, it's what you do during the act that may or may not be sinful. Because I heard that sodomy is like, you can't be doing that. Like, nah.
Told very poetically. In fact, there is a lot of poetry in it. A lot of the plot was inspired by this one particular poem that you hear over and over again in the film. But it can be a little bit tricky to follow. So this is another one where you may need to rely on the subtitles a little bit more, but it is definitely worth it. It's really interesting and a total classic of German cinema. Okay, next up is Das Leben der Anderen, or The Lives of Others. Now, you have almost certainly heard of this film, so it definitely breaks my rule for this video. But I absolutely love this film, and if I'm making a video recommending German films for you, I just felt obliged. I felt like I had to include it, even if it didn't count. Specifically, we follow a Stasi spy as they are installed in the attic above the flat of an intellectual, a playwright. And their job is to spy on this person and understand what they're doing. Now, there are so many different layers in the plot and so many different things going on, so I don't want to spoil anything, but needless to say that there is a whole lot that goes on from that.
Wait a minute. There's literally the main actor in this movie, he's German. I'm pretty sure he's German. Obviously, I mean, a lot of you guys may know who he is. But that's actually quite interesting. Also, once again, checking for a potential freeze of my camera. My camera likes to freeze randomly.
Initial setup, and it is an incredible story. What I can say though is that it is really well regarded as having portrayed an incredibly accurate picture of what life was like in East Germany at that time. It's a really interesting film just from that perspective. But as well as all that, it is an incredible and, yes, emotional film as well.
Oh, wait a minute. The guy I'm thinking of might be Austrian, I think. I think he's Austrian. I gotta think of the guy's name. He's played a lot of villains in movies and stuff. But I'll have to let you guys know which actor I'm talking about, because I'm pretty sure the guy I'm talking about is Austrian.
Oh, it's particularly at the end where I think I had a bit of a weep. It is very, very good, and I would highly recommend that one. You may have noticed, by the way, that so far in this list, we've covered a couple of things to do with National Socialism and a couple of things to do with the Cold War, and they are recurring themes in German cinema, such that I have found anyway. And the last two on my list are no exception. The last two are both set in or direct consequences of the Second World War.
Oh, shiznit. I wonder if any of those was Valkyrie, because that was scary stuff, man. That and there was another movie. I think it was about the parachuters. The parachuters is what they called them. But there was a movie that came out about that like 3 or 4 years ago. Very sad movie, man.
The first one of these is called Elsa, hatte der Welt verändert, or the much easier English title, 13 Minutes. This film tells the true story of a guy called Georg Elsa who attempted to blow up Hitler by...
Yes! Yo, they did a movie about this in English. And oh my God. They used to call those guys like the parachuters or something like that. It was so crazy because the plot didn't work. It didn't work. I mean, obviously, plot twist. I mean, or like spoiler alert. I mean, if you guys know history, then obviously, but it didn't work. And like, it was so crazy because the entire government was looking for these guys. I think there were like 7 people involved, if this is the right thing.
Planting a bomb in a beer hall where he was due to speak. The English title, 13 Minutes, refers to the fact that Hitler left the venue just 13 minutes before the bomb eventually exploded.
Oh wait, this might be a different, because I know there were several different assassination attempts of him, but this, I know like maybe what I'm talking about happened after this, but I know like what they were doing, what they were trying to do was catch him. They were trying to cut him off. I think he was driving somewhere or something, and they were trying to intersect him and shoot up his car or something like that, and it just completely didn't work because they wound up taking a different route.
So that day, Elsa is arrested at the Swiss border, carrying designs for his bomb, as well as lots of other very suspicious things that he probably should have just thrown away, in my opinion. But regardless, he gets caught and taken in for interrogation, and that is where the story begins in this film. But what I like about this film is that in order to tell his story, you also necessarily have to tell the story of the rise of National Socialism in Germany. So there are scenes where you see him with his friends, and they're all members of a political party, but the Nazi party are sitting on the table next to them, celebrating the fact that they've just won the biggest party in the Bundestag. We then see political prisoners being taken. We then see a little bit later on people being forced to wear signs in town squares as punishments. Jesus. And we're seeing all of this through the lens of Elsa, who is feeling hopeless and helpless and wants to do something, anything, to try and stop this rise to power and what he sees as an inevitable path towards war, which of course is the case. And as an aside here, by the way, this is why I really love learning languages, because this is a historical figure who I had no idea existed.
Yeah, I didn't know he existed. Like, oh my God. So I guess I told a completely different tale, but this also had something to do with Germany. If you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know, because I just saw a movie on it. Hold on, let me look it up. I saw a movie on it. Literally, it had to be like 3 or 4 years ago. Hold on, parachuters. Here we go. Okay, so it was called not paratroopers. Let me see. They're called the parachuters, I think, right? The parachuters. World War II. Boom. Jesus. I'm gonna have to type in some other sketchy shit, isn't it? Let's see. The Falscher Magier? Magier? Let me see. Jesus Christ. Movie. All right. Not the Captain. Not Grey Wolf. I'll have to find it, man. I'll have to find it. It was a good movie that came out a few years ago. I can't believe I lost the name of it.
And a time in history that I really want to understand more. So watching films in your target language is just something that I absolutely love. It has this incredible ability to teach you about the culture and the people of a country that you are interested in. But at the same time, you're picking up new words and new phrases, and you're getting stronger at that language, which means that you can then get better at watching films and consuming that media, which means that you learn more languages. And it's this incredible positive feedback loop that is really, really great. Okay, let's take a look at the last film in my list now, which is Nirgendwo in Africa, or Nowhere in Africa. This is a true story about a Jewish family that managed to escape from Germany early and go down to Kenya to try and start a new life there.
Oh, wow, that is interesting. That's okay. That took a turn I did not expect. That's, it's also like, what's even more, because you hear about a lot of people leaving Germany during that time and going to America, but I haven't really heard of other stories of people leaving Germany and going to other countries, which I know they did, but I have never followed a story of a family or people just leaving Germany and going to other countries, and that right there in itself would be pretty
exile. And it follows them from initially arriving in Kenya and trying to survive and get by on this farm to the outbreak of World War II, at which point they get interned as enemy aliens and have to live in a sort of prisoner of war kind of camp kind of thing. What? A lot of its time is focused on the daughter trying to understand this new world, and it focuses a lot on her relationship with her father. And I almost wish that it was more like that, because unfortunately some of the plot threads that involve the mother I thought were a bit unnecessary, and you could probably trim 20 minutes out of that film if you really wanted to. But speaking of the kid, she is super cool. It's a very well written character, really well acted, completely adorable, and relevant to us, by the way, dear viewer. And by the end of the film, she speaks English, Swahili, and German, which is pretty cool and pretty enviable. Spoiler alert, by the way, I did Google Swahili after I'd finished watching the film and spent a bit of time on the Wikipedia grammar page for it, and it looks pretty cool. But I haven't booked a flight to Nairobi or anything quite yet, don't worry. So that's my list, or at least the end of part 1. I have literally another 16 films that I'd written down that I wanted to watch and include.
16 films. Man, I gotta check these ones out, man, and do like a review of them, man. This is actually pretty cool. This is pretty cool. He gave some pretty good recommendations and whatnot, and I'm glad somebody sent this to me to kind of check it out and react to it. I thought I know one of the movies got recommended to me already, and it was definitely interesting. I completely forgot to check it out though, so I'll have to look it up and watch it and see what it is. What's up with the What Up? I know we got a lot of German films on Netflix, so I guess I'll watch one and then maybe do like a review, like a movie review, and discuss it and give you guys my take. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was a pleasure hanging out with you guys as always, and until the next time I see your beautiful faces again, take care. Tschüss. Hey, what's up? Did you guys subscribe to the channel? Did you subscribe to the channel? Well, if you haven't, make sure you do that. Also, we do have a Discord. The Discord link is always going to be in the description down below on any of my videos, and it's dope. What we do on Discord is pretty simple. A lot of you guys I'm collecting you guys from a bunch of different countries, a bunch of different places, and you guys want to teach me a whole bunch of stuff. You guys can join the Discord and teach me anything. You can send me any kind of messages and stuff. You can actually post memes. You could participate in the community and just make friends. Just go ahead and join the Discord and see what kind of situation you're getting into for yourself. Also, there's going to be some giveaways in the future. There's going to be some giveaways, but to create some incentive for that, I need you guys to follow me on Instagram. Are you guys following me on Instagram? You know what my Instagram looks like? You probably don't know what my Instagram name is. It's right there. Just go ahead and check it out. Check it out. Check it out. It's dope. Just follow me on Instagram. I do live streams every day. I try to, engage with you guys in every way possible. I know not a lot of creators are very engaging with their fan base. I try to be engaging. So just go ahead and check it out. There's no harm, no foul. Follow me on Twitter too. I honestly am trying to to grow my Twitter. But I don't really post that often on there. But when I do, you guys will be the first to see whatever post those will be. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you guys want shout outs or whatever, I don't know, we have a lot of upcoming independent artists that have been hitting me up as of late. I might create a series where I favor my international independent artists and stuff, and I might promote you guys for free, but it might just be 1 or 2 a week, you know, and you guys can give me some feedback on that. But all to say, follow me on my social medias. All right, if you guys aren't doing that already, you need to do that because that's a pretty big deal. I'll see you guys later, but enjoy the content I create. It's gonna be random reaction videos, a lot of everything, reaction videos, vlogs, challenges, cooking videos, gaming videos, anything you guys suggest when you join my Discord or message me on Instagram. But I'll see you guys soon. Take care, follow me. Peace!